All right, well, good morning, everyone. Uh, Hope everyone's having an awesome day today. Come on here and say hey, and it's been a little bit. So, anyhow, let's get to it here. I wanted to kind of talk about this morning where we're at. If you haven't been watching the news, I just want to kind of go through a couple things here. And I want to start by giving an update on this video, and then I want to kind of pick out some of those talking points. So let's go with that.
Ukraine will likely not win back all its territory that was lost to Russia as President.
All right, hold on a second. Let me make sure that I got my audio set right. All right, I think we're okay here. All right, anyhow, let's go with it and see where we're at here, but hopefully you can hear this okay.
Donald Trump said he'll meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin to get the ball rolling on negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. Good Day's Robert Moses joins us live with the very latest developments from the Trump administration. Robert, what are you hearing?
Dan, critics say that failing to return to Ukraine all of its territory would wrongly reward Russia for seizing land by force.
All right, so
whatever a possible peace deal looks like, President Donald Trump says...
I'm not sure why this is not rolling here. Let me try something here. I apologize. Let's see here.
No one else should die.
It should be coming up here, but it's not. So give me a minute, second. Let's see here. Let me reselect this thing. All right, let me see.
In a war that has taken hundreds of thousands of lives
I
already.
apologize. I'm going to back this up.
Not to win back all its territory that was lost to Russia.
As President Donald Trump said, he'll meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin to get the ball rolling on negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. Good Day's Robert Moses joins us live with the very latest developments from the Trump administration. Robert, what are you hearing?
Dan, critics say that failing to return to Ukraine all of its territory would wrongly reward Russia for seizing land by force. Whatever a possible peace deal looks like, President Donald Trump says no one else should die in a war that has taken hundreds of thousands of lives already.
We had a great call.
President Donald Trump spoke to reporters in the Oval Office about a more than hour-long phone call he had with Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday. He says he then spoke by phone with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine.
I think we're on the way to getting peace. I think President Putin wants peace, and President Zelensky wants peace, and I want peace.
Peace has been elusive in a war that the president promised to end in 24 hours. Zelensky says he will meet with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio tomorrow at a summit in Munich. President Trump says he then plans to meet multiple times with Putin.
We expect that he'll come here, and I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia the first time.
No dates have been set, but the promised meetings represent a diplomatic coup for Putin and show that he is no longer isolated under this American president. Before President Trump spoke to reporters, he presided over the swearing-in of his newly confirmed Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who has been criticized in the past for parroting Russian talking points. The Senate is expected to vote on whether to confirm another of President Trump's cabinet picks, Health and Human Services Secretary in Massachusetts ruled that unions that challenged his program to cut the federal workforce through deferred resignations lacked legal standing. About 75,000 workers accepted offers to quit in exchange for being paid through the end of September. A spokesperson for the Office of Personnel Management says the program is now closed to additional workers.
Today, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits the White House. He and President Trump are then scheduled to hold a joint news conference later on this afternoon. Dan, back to you.
A lot to say, Robert. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, that's kind of where we're at with the whole Ukraine deal right now. So we've got these wars going on, Ukraine and Russia. That's a mess, and you've been listening. I guess if you've been listening to the news, you know exactly what I'm saying here is that Ukraine's going to have to give up a lot of that land that Russia has recovered. There's no doubt about it. They're just going to have to walk away. That's going to be the deal. The thing is, war, when you gain somebody else's country, you're going to war, you normally keep it. Now, it may be that Trump can negotiate a deal with Russia, trying to get some of Ukraine's land back. He thinks he's going to be able to. That's to be seen. I don't doubt that what this guy can do. He's pretty resourceful when he wants to be, and it appears that he wants to be. So, looking at that, there's not much else restraining Putin from doing what he wants to do. I don't see us committing anything to Ukraine, and any further weapons I don't think are going to be pouring into Ukraine. Trump is trying to stop this war, and I think whatever monies that we give them heretofore will be in the sense of help, repair, those types of things. I don't really believe that we're going to be giving them any more ammunition and things. Trump's already said that we're in it way too far, way more than Europe, and Europe is the one that has more to lose than what we would, in essence. They're closest to them. If Russia was to take them, they're at their doorstep, not ours. Keep saying there's an ocean between us. And so they have the more immediate threat from Russia. And what he's trying to say is that they should be kicking in the most to help prevent Putin from gaining ground and getting closer, winning that war. But anyhow, Trump said he wants to be a peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemakers, the Bible says. And he quoted that scripture, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I do not view Trump as a saint. I do believe that God has picked him to do what he's doing and the way he's going to do it. There's nothing that I feel that God has left totally to man, that he would not intervene, that he does not set up kings and take out kings. So that's one of the things. Let's kind of switch over to Israel. And let's see what we've got going on there today. And I'll put us back over here, and let's just get a little summary of what's going on there. Let's be clear before we watch a video here. Let's be clear with what's going on. Donald Trump met with Netanyahu and basically said, listen, man, and he actually said it. I don't even know if Netanyahu they even talked about it. But during the press conference that they had together, Trump says this onesie, twosie, 3, 4, back to 2, back to 3, back to 4, this week, that week, stringing it all out for these hostage releases. Enough is enough. Have all the hostages freed up by Saturday, this Saturday by noon, or all hell is going to break loose. That's Trump's view on it. He basically said Netanyahu's got to do what he's got to do, but that's his view, that's his perspective. This is enough. And so Hamas has got an ultimatum, and Benjamin Netanyahu has already come out and publicly said to Hamas that you release all the hostages or ceasefire is off. This agreement is void, null and void. And so that's where they're at. This is going to be interesting, folks. I'm telling you, this is just going to be very interesting. What's going to happen there, and we're going to see a lot of stuff happening and going on here. So, man, hold on to your seatbelts because it's about to get real. Tariffs are going in effect, I think, next week. It's already, some tariffs are out. Steel and aluminum. We've got Canada threatening to go with the European Union, kind of quit trading with us and all that stuff. A lot of that's just talk. To do that would take them years and slow process. But we'll see. Maybe they'll do it. Who knows? Who knows? But there's a lot of things up in the air. We've got Department of Education getting ready to get closed down. Trump is trying for that because of the waste, the amount of waste, the money. He said there's 40 countries with educational systems, and we are last with the learnability of our students and their where they are placed in the education system. And the only one that we actually win in is the amount spent per pupil. And it sucks because we all know that these school systems are trash. There's a lot of people find some good in them, and these teachers work very hard. It's not a reflection as far as my thoughts to the teachers. There's great teachers. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm not no expert at it. But I do know that our kids don't go to public school anymore. We've taken them out, and they are getting high-quality education here at home. And, we just went through, all the governmental stuff again this week. And, we're going to be doing science projects. They've been to field trips. They've been doctors. They've medical things that they can't get in school. They may watch some film strips or something like that, but we're learning them real life and actual stuff that they need to live by. It's a joke today. Education, I'm sorry to say, but in my opinion, is a joke. And those that has been controlling it is a joke with it. But anyhow, that's lots of stuff going on. This USAID, AID, finding all the waste, and there's almost a $1 billion, I believe it was, that has already been identified of just pure waste, throwing our money away. And you can just look it up on Google to see those things. I'm not going to even repeat them here on our time here, but it's horrible. It's horrible that our money is going for that, and our veterans are still living on the street. We've got homeless people. It's sad. It's sad. And but anyhow, I'm not on here to talk about all that, but I just want to reflect of the environment that we are in. It's an unstable environment. It's very shaky. There's great potential, but there's great risk. That's going on with all these wars and stuff going on right now. And just looking at, the Middle East. Donald Trump says we're gonna inhabit Gaza Strip. We're taking it over. We need to look for places for the Palestinians to move out, and he is requesting that Egypt and Jordan take these folks in as refugees and give them some land. And Trump says, we'll make them a great place to live. They won't have to worry about the wars. And in my opinion, that is the only way that Hamas is going to be removed from the Gaza area and those occupying areas that they are in today. The only way is to move the people out of there and clean up that land, collapse all the tunnel systems, all the caves, collapse them all, bulldoze the whole thing out, and rebuild. That is the only way that the infectious disease that has put Hamas people being poor, hungry, getting killed, everything else, it is the responsibility of Hamas. They are responsible for doing this. There's no need to talk about a two-state solution. That bird has flown. That time has passed. It's not coming back. It's not going to be acceptable. October 7th was a future changing situation. And so regardless of your opinion on this, it is what it is, and things are going on. It is unsettling. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and there's still a lot of hope. So we're on this little teeter-totter, I guess. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I say pray for the leaders of this world. They make good decisions and good choices, because there's a lot of things, like I say, balls up in the air and juggling going on, and all it takes is one of them to drop to kind of affect everything else. So anyhow, just wanted to come on, and if you weren't aware of some of this stuff going on, give you a little update. But anyhow, let me just play a little bit of this video. If it gets boring, I'll shut it down, and we'll end this. So let's try this and see what happens.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We do have some breaking news out of the Middle East as we're learning Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is threatening a possible ceasefire end. And he did post to social media an X account, but this is from our Fox reporter Mike Tobin. Netanyahu did post in Hebrew, but Mike Tobin has translated it for us. And this is his statement from the Israeli Prime Minister. It says, if Hamas does not return our hostages by Saturday noon, the ceasefire will end and the IDF will resume intense combat until Hamas is effectively defeated. I do want to give you a live look out of Israel right now as I continue to read the latest to you on all of this. This comes as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the military to increase troops in and around the Gaza Strip today after Hamas said it would delay the next release of 3 Israeli hostages set for this weekend. That's according to an Israeli official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss all of this to the Associated Press. Hamas accuses Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement, including by not allowing a surge of tents and shelters into the devastated territory. President Donald Trump threatened that, quote, all hell will break out if the militant group does not release the remaining Israeli hostages held in Gaza by Saturday. At the White House, President Trump is hosting Jordan's King Abdullah as he escalates pressure on the key U.S. ally to take in refugees from Gaza. That's happening today in Washington as part of his plan to remake the Middle East. Palestinians and the international community have discussed Trump's recent comments that any Palestinians potentially expelled from Gaza would not have a right to return. continuing the latest here on all of this, because this is a developing story, a lot going on here today. During the first phase of the ceasefire, Hamas has committed to freeing a total of 33 hostages captured in its October 7th attack, in exchange for Israel releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. The sides have carried out 5 swaps since January 19th, freeing 21 hostages and over 730 Palestinian prisoners so far. The war could resume in early March if no agreement is reached on the more complicated second phase of this ceasefire, which calls for the return of all remaining hostages and an indefinite extension of the truce. So if you are just joining us here on Live Now from Fox, I'm going to quickly
Okay, guys.
Saturday noon.
We're going to go to the newer,
Right now, I do want to transition.
the more later version of today. That was yesterday's news, and we're going to play a little bit of this morning.
Hit the top of the 6 o'clock hour here on Live Now from Fox. I do want to transition to some breaking news we are following right now, taking you out to Rafah, Gaza, where destruction still seems to be prevalent. Also, we see aid trucks entering the area in real time. Following breaking news this Thursday morning from the Associated Press, Hamas saying it would release the next group of Israeli hostages as planned, apparently resolving a major dispute that threatened the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The militant group saying Egyptian and Qatari mediators have affirmed that they will work to, quote, remove all hurdles, and that it would implement the ceasefire deal. The statement indicated 3 more Israeli hostages would be freed Saturday. There was no immediate comment from Israel after Hamas's announcement. Hamas's move would allow the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip to continue for now, but its future, it does remain in doubt. Hamas had threatened to delay the next release of Israeli hostages, accusing Israel of failing to meet its obligations to allow in tents and shelters, among other alleged violations of the truce. Israel, with the support of U.S. President Donald Trump, had threatened to renew its offensive if hostages were not freed. Hamas goes on to say to the Associated Press that its delegation held talks in Cairo with Egyptian officials and was in contact with Qatar's prime minister about increasing the entry of shelters, medical supplies, fuel, and heavy equipment for clearing rubble in Gaza. Egypt's state-run TV, local media close to the country's security services, reports to AP that Egypt and Qatar had succeeded in resolving the dispute. The 2 Arab countries have served as key mediators with.
Okay, so if you're hearing what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is the fact that Hamas knows that Trump, he's had cover under Biden. Hamas has, and they have tied, we as U.S., Joe Biden and his administration has tied their hands behind their back, Israel, to prolong this war. This thing needs to be wrapping up, and to get that to happen is what we talked about earlier. Hamas knows, just like the devil, it has but a short time, and it's going to do everything it can to prolong this, because this keeps them in power. Once Israel decides that there's no more time to negotiate, and again, I'm going to tell you right now, and the news are talking about it, everybody's talking about it since Donald Trump says, hey, America is going to take Gaza, we're going to own it, we're going to do some awesome stuff with it, and we're going to move the Palestinians out, they go have a great life, and all this fighting can stop, and they can live good lives. But see, the problem is Egypt and these surrounding Middle Eastern countries want them. They are their patsies. They have been their patsies. And this is a way for Iran to constantly put a thorn in the side of Israel and to constantly keep it under threat. But again, after October 7th, I think all bets are off. I think the ship has sailed. There's no longer going to be this setup. There will never be a two-state solution, and Egypt is fighting tooth and nail. The Egyptian president did not come see Trump. They see the writing on the wall, that they're not getting by with this anymore. The other big thing I'm telling you right now is Turkey. You better watch for Turkey, because Turkey did an out-of-round deal where they jumped on the bandwagon. I don't know if they started it, but they sure jumped on these terrorists that came in and took over Syria. Turkey is now leading them and gave them great help and advice to do all this. Turkey does not like Israel one bit. And this is another, Turkey is now able to be on the border with Israel, where Erdogan wanted them to be. And he's not a good guy. This is from the Ottoman Empire. And if you've done any history checking with that, they go out and take whatever they can, like locust. And he would probably like to bring that back at some point. But anyhow, most of us know biblical of the future of Israel and what God says, and peace, sudden destruction. When they say safety, I'm personally thinking this is about to unfold, folks. The predictions of what the Bible has prophesied. Man, I don't know if me personally will see it to the end of it, but man, I can't think that my kids won't see it to the end. So yeah, I mean, this is something I think is just moving forward very fast now. And Jesus said, as the woman travails, once the labor pains start, there's no backing up. There's no backing out. It's going to get more intense and closer and closer and closer. And, if these prophecies are right, and I have no reason not to believe them, then, hold on, because things are about to get real interesting. And, again, I don't know if I'll live to see it myself, but I think it's very close. I think it's so close that many who could hear or watch this video is going to be able to see that. And I don't know. We are living in a spectacular time. If you're on the right side of the Lord, if you are doing what you're supposed to do, trying to please God in every way, keeping your heart clean, asking forgiveness for your faults, and treating your neighbor as yourself, being a good steward to your family, you're going to be all right. But man, I tell you, evil is just getting more evil. And I guess maybe they've all said that, and our generation, the generation before us, has probably said that. Some are weary, some's like, I'm not sure anymore. But I'll tell you, if you reach up and you begin to worship Jesus, he will meet you. He will come and touch you. And that is your assurance to believe. And he is not very far from any of us. No matter what you've done, where you're at, he is the rock to be on. He is the solid rock. And man, I can't say enough about that. But man, you look here at the destruction. These people want to come back and live here. these buildings could fall at any time, and Trump has a great point, and I'm behind him on it. You know, it could be 10, 15 years for this thing to get rebuilt back. Man, I tell you, they need to collapse all those tunnels. That's the only way Israel's going to be safe. And monitor this. But yeah, I don't know, folks. I'm not prophesying anything here. I just know what I see, and I know it doesn't look good. I'm like I say, we are living in fascinating times. To get to be here and see these things develop and unfold is biblical. It really is. And we'll see what happens. And like I said, the only thing that you know is solid is Jesus. And cling to him, hold on to him, keep an eye out, watch, be ready, and you know. All right, man. I think that's about all. But I don't know what your weather is like, but we're getting some nice snow out there, and not sure where it's going to end up. I think we end up getting about 3 inches overnight. It's still snowing again, and I think it's supposed to let up a day and then come back Saturday and Sunday. Maybe we'll get a chance to get the kids out sledding and stuff and have some fun. But anyhow, stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel, as they say. Be cognizant, be aware of what's going on, so that you have the means and prepare to do your best. Make sure you have plenty of food. We don't know what's happening, man. We don't know. And like I say, it's no time to be in fear. It's just the time to be aware and ready. Watch and be ready is what the Lord said. He said if you would have been watching, the thief would not have been able to come in and steal your stuff. And so anyhow, thanks for listening, and we'll